Hi, I'm Monica Cesarato, a food and travel blogger in Venice. Welcome to Venice Meets, a series of live chats from Instagram every day at 6 p.m. CET. Today, I will be talking to Alberto Toso Fei, Venetian journalist, writer and storyteller. Welcome! Ti dispiace se la facciamo in italiano e in inglese, scusa?
Ma è un po' una imboscata, devo dire.
Yes or no?
We can try, okay?
Okay, so welcome Alberto Toso Fei. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, they say, are you still in quarantine? Well, kind
Yeah,
of.
not, we pretend not to be anymore.
I haven't gone out yet because, they say you can go and see the relatives. But my parents told me, don't come. So I'm still stuck indoors.
Like, ask yourself a question. Why they don't want to see you?
You're so nice, Alberto.
Sounds like an excuse, Very important,
Yes.
don't come, don't.
Listen, let's talk about you instead. How are you coping with this quarantine? You've been so busy.
Yeah, more than ever.
I know, because at the moment where you're doing so many things, what are you actually doing?
Oh, well, as you know, I started March 8th, the Venetian Decameron. I asked myself since the very first day of quarantine what I could really do, Not, well, of course, for myself. But
Apart from helping your wife with the
yeah.
kids, of course, yeah?
More than this, how I could break this state of isolation,
Mm-hmm.
and fortunately, the net is helping us a lot, like now. But the first idea was very simple, and was to propose what in the time of contagion,
Mm-hmm.
700 years ago, these 10 Florentines did, following the tale of Giovanni Boccaccio.
Mm-hmm.
And so I proposed myself for 10 nights to tell a Venetian story. Every night at midnight, in this passage from one day to the other, this undistinguished time of the day or of the night, and everything should be ended the 10th night. But
Yeah, that
many
was 50 nights ago, yeah?
49, day by day, and
Yeah.
then after, we get to April 25th, and then from April 25th, I go on once a week.
Oh, okay.
So
But I got to say, I've been doing this is number 51, non-stop. I only had 2 Sundays off, and it's really wearing me out. And it is done at a decent time. You do it at midnight. How do you do it at midnight? I'm like, well.
don't ask me. I know I did. Now, for example, it's weekly, and it's at 11 o'clock p.m., but 11 o'clock. It's
Yeah.
not sustainable. And anyway, at, when I came at the 8th night, many persons asked me, many other wrote me in a private form, asked me to go on. And
Yes.
I have to confess that many of these private messages were really touching. I discovered what was very far from my imagination, and so that this fun appointment, we gave one each other. It was a very, and it is a very
Mm-hmm.
nice way to meet all together, to stay together for a while every day at that time, and to speak about Venice. And I discovered that this moment that to me was a very, and it is a very natural way to stay, you know. It's not exactly what I'm doing in my life, but it's pretty close. And so I decided to go on, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good period. I think I remember, for every one of us will remember for so long this time, you know, this particular and special and hopefully unique year we lived. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think I'll remember it in a very, if not pleasurable, but kind way, I mean,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was a good time.
I totally understand what you say, because this is what happened with me. I started this chapter with Marisa. It was one way to see each other, because, you know, we couldn't see each other. So, oh, let's use Instagram, you know, because all the others weren't working properly. And it started that way, because I thought, okay, so you can talk about what you do. We do, you know, some kind of chat like that. And then somebody else said to me, oh, can I do it as well? And it slowly started. What's interesting is, I don't know if you find the same thing, is when I was asking people to take part, I was expecting everybody just to say, no, sorry, not interested. And everybody instead was saying yes. And there was this need to talk, to compare,
I know what you mean.
you know, and that was very interesting. But what are you doing instead from now on?
Allora, starting from the Cameron experience, another project take life. It will start tomorrow, exactly, because the cultural services of Comune di Venezia
Mm-hmm.
asked me for some videos. I have a choice, but it was expressly for the theater,
Sì,
theater
theatrical, yeah, theatrical, yeah.
for the, come si dice, i teatri comunali.
Oh, the city theaters. I would
Okay,
have thought
I
city
mean
theaters.
the public theaters of
Mm-hmm.
town, and I thought it could be interesting, make a kind of investigation, I mean, in the history of the Venetian theater, that is pretty
Nice.
interesting
Yeah.
and very
Also
young.
because a lot of people don't actually know that in Venice there were loads of theaters, and now it's only a small number, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, they were so much, but of course there are. Venice was ahead in several fields, and for example, well, Carlo Goldoni was the inventor of the modern theater. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
take off masks from the characters, and is going to tell simple story of people and no more fairy tales, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's a very important passage from an old theatrical form to a new one, and we are
Mm-hmm.
going to the second half of an 18th century. More than this, in 1637, in the very first theater built by stone in Venice, the San Cassiano, now no more existing, happened a very simple but determinating fact for the history of music.
Mm-hmm.
For a very first time in history, uh, people to be allowed to assist to a musical representation. It was the Andromeda of Francesco Manelli. Pay a fee, a ticket. And
Okay.
today, for us, this is very common, you
Yeah.
know.
You
You
do
pay,
expect.
but at that time was not. It was not so, because
Okay.
uh, especially musicians were accustomed to think and write music for I mean for a king, for a nobleman who pay him to do it. So for a court, for close number of persons that were used to meet, I don't know, in a palace. Music change because change from that time ahead to think music. And so music, I using a modern word in music, transform itself in a commercial matter.
Well, yeah, of course, because they start, you know, you had to pay for it. So
a composer had to think to the fact that he will have a public that will pay a ticket to listen to his music or her music.
So obviously also the way they were writing would change, because if you're writing knowing that the people that will listen to you are trained to listen to the kind of music, you obviously can write in a certain way. But you write to a bigger audience that you're not so sure is trained, maybe you modify.
It's a revolution.
You do pop music.
Yeah. And you know, starting from 1637 to pop music today, you know, the line, you know, is very thin, but it's existing.
Yeah,
and
of course.
This is something that was born in a Venetian theater.
Wow, this one I didn't know. Wow.
And then, you know, also funny anecdotes, but
so are you gonna do these videos? Because of course, well, you're allowed to go out in a certain way. So are you gonna do them outside, or is just gonna be talk? Oh, you're gonna talk?
Absolutely at home.
Boring. No, I'm joking. I'm kidding. I can listen to you for hours, Alberto. So I'm just joking. I'm kidding.
I put an ancient black mantle at my shoulder.
Oh, okay.
Also, I'm totally in a black field.
Yeah, you should get the Lagoon Pirates to give you the big things that they had at your show.
Did you saw the picture I posted today? Also here on Instagram.
Yes, but you had the face of, what was it? Doctor de la Peste.
My hand. Yeah, that's the style, you know. So I will be with my face and my hands in a black field with every time a different object with me.
Cool.
So it was funny. So yes, it was like
but I think a history of theater is gonna be so interesting, because it's not something that you hear every day, even though it's so important for Venice, also because it gave work to so many people in the city as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know, that's very interesting. Oh, I like that. So,
and then it's not
yes. Oh, you haven't finished. Okay, right. Go on then.
Tuesday and Friday we have, for 6 weeks, we will have the Venetian Theater, Italian only. And Wednesday, cosa go deve Wednesday at 11 o'clock p.m. there is the Venetian Decameron.
Of course, yeah.
Every Thursday at noon, in my Facebook page is Venezia in un minuto. Venice in a minute. I'm going to post a video shot in Venice. I shot all of them. They are 12, 15. I can remember now the exact number. So one per week. That I create in the first days of February for Carnival.
Ah, okay. And then
they were shown.
On the stage
of San Mark's Place stage.
Okay.
So they were created for that moment, but now of course we have all of them. They are created around the Carnival main theme of this year, and so the game, the love, and the craziness.
Folly, yeah. Those, yeah.
And so I shoot them in different side of the town. The first was posted last week, and so the second one the day after tomorrow, and not the day after tomorrow, Thursday, and also with this project, we are going to go on until the end of June, I think.
Okay, yeah, okay. I can just see your wife's face. So she thought, oh, finally, is in quarantine, so it's gonna be on for a while.
Yeah,
No.
she's encouraging me, starting the second day, after 48 hours together. She said, have you nothing better to do? And
Go
so,
to work. Yeah, go to work. Well, you could write another book, couldn't you?
oh, yes, I just did, but not now. But it's a little early for that project now. It's a new book. I don't know how when and how it will be released. Hopefully during this year, but I don't know now.
I don't know. I was talking to other writers friends, and they all told me the same thing. But right now, during quarantine, they feeling, I don't know, a bit out of inspiration. They are in a limbo in a kind of sense. So they're not sure if shall we write about what's going on. Shall we just not do it because you don't know what's gonna happen? A lot of them told me they are a bit, you know.
Okay, I can understand. It's a pretty strange period, of course, in our life. But the truth is, I'm a very simple mind.
No, I don't think so.
Really, really. And when I'm in front of any difficulty, the only things I can conceive, I can do is act, make
Yes.
something,
Yes.
react. And so all I'm doing now is simply a reaction to what's happening. It's my way to proceed in life,
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I assume from what I see of you, maybe I'm wrong. I'm a very social person. I'm very extrovert, and I'm done. No, I never said that. Yeah, okay. And no, I'm actually a very shy person. Don't think that I'm extrovert. I'm very sociable, but I'm a very shy person. You don't know me well. But I've been really suffering staying indoors. So what I did but I know people like it, but I've done it for myself really because I needed to speak to people. Is that be what happened to you as well? You needed to have a contact with people because you're always going out and doing lectures and talking and doing events.
Yeah. No, of course it felt to me. I love meet people. I love speak with people. I love tell tales. It's my life. It's not only a job. I'm a lucky guy who was from a certain moment allowed to make the most funniest things he could conceive became a job.
So when did you actually start writing?
Pardon?
Yeah, when did you start writing?
Oh, I'm also a journalist, and so I first wrote in my life as a journalist, except some very in my youthness, but every one of us, in our school diary are full of tentatives, Anyway, and I always like write and read in my life. And I make a kind of research in my own memory from a certain moment. When I was attending at my university studies, I was studying the history of the town of Venice, and the stories I knew. I don't know if I don't think all our friends that are listening to us know me so well, but I am originally of Murano Island.
You are what we call DOC. DOC. Che non mi piace, but we use it anyway.
I like it too,
I don't like it, but okay.
Yeah, just for fun. Inside my book, in the biographic presentation, I'm writing that I'm Venetian since 1331. because the first document that are witnessing the presence of my family into the island is of that year, you know.
Wow.
The pretty ancient
Oh,
family.
wow. What heritage.
But strong of this, I can say that are not existing the DOC Venetians, you know. A Venetian is everyone who loves Venice.
Mm.
Not only a man or a woman who was born in the town. The most part of Venetians today, and it was so for the whole history of the town, are people born otherwhere, you know, and came elsewhere, and but decided that life, you know, ask them or they choose to stay in Venice. There are many Venetians that are not living in town. They are Venetians inside their hearts, inside their souls, and
Spread
they
all
are,
over the world as well. It's
yeah,
not just
yeah.
we're talking also foreign people as well. Yeah.
The truth is that Venice is a very loved city, fortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And but we were speaking not about
How
it,
you
but yeah,
yes.
my writing, but because I am from Murano and I lived more than 40 years ago when I was a child. Uh, this particular situation that I was able to listen to old people that was telling old stories, and at that time we are in the beginning of the 70s. This costume was already lost in Venice,
Mm-hmm.
for example, except some part like Castello or Canareggio. But my Venetian friends were hardly listening to story to old people at that time. But I was living in an island, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was later when I was at the university that I discovered that all these beautiful stories were not written anywhere, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so this heritage of extraordinary heritage coming from the oral tradition was risking to be lost forever,
Of
because
course.
no one was telling any more of these stories. And so I decided to write them down, to collect them, you know. At first, at the time, was already a young journalist. uh, at first, making a job on my own memory, as I was telling you before, and so writing them down as I was remember them, and then asking, still asking to old people for stories
Mm-hmm.
from party, and I catch a lot of new stories, a lot of fragments, because many times, you know, especially old people are not remember, you know, there was a man there, you know, that
And then
made me,
and Alberto being
no,
Venetian,
no,
it was a small fish. Was that?
it was a very, also a very interesting work of recovering of old stories,
Mm-hmm.
of old memories. It was a job of research, of interviewing, of comparization, because as the languages, as the foods, as everything, you know, that is going to be come si dice, contaminated from other, you
Yeah.
know. Also,
Uh-huh.
Venetian stories come and go for all over the history, you know, from
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
from the east and from the north, and so there are many common points, you know, and so it's possible also to compare them. And I you know, in my first book, Venetian Legends and Ghost Stories, took me about 9 years of job, you know. I,
Really? Oh,
yes,
wow.
I didn't know I was writing a book for real. I was
Mm.
simply catching them, you know, like a
Collecting
not
all.
like a hunter, you know, but it was like a passion, because I was
Mm-hmm.
doing a job as a journalist, and sometimes I dedicated time to it. Then I discover a very simple thing, that every story has still a place. Venice, because of its extraordinary preservation, permit to give back to every place a story. And so my books became, and then my recitals became a kind of restitution, but it's also, you can do a kind of narrative walk, through the stones, and let the stones tell you stories. Because really inside the stones, there are stories, secrets, and if you are able to use the right side of your ears, you can listen to it.
What I like particularly about your books, but I have them all, by the way, okay, you haven't signed them yet, but I got them all, is that even when they translated in English,
yeah, many of them,
they make Venice so much more more approachable, as in, I think a lot of people have this idea of Venice that is very, how can I say, idolized, okay, because it is a beautiful city, it looks like a dream, and often people forget that it is a city that's got living people with proper stories, and so it makes it more real in a way, I think. Also because it's really funny, when Venetian Legends came out, I remember I was talking to some friends and we were discussing some of the stories, and turns out that one of the story, the identical story, is in England. Change of a place, change of characters, but it's exactly the same story. So you wonder, did it happen in Venice? Did it happen in England? More likely happened in Venice, and then it was told in England, and then they changed it. But all of a sudden you go, oh my God, it's the same story. It's just...
There are a lot of these examples, and
yeah.
It's very funny to verify how stories make voyages, like words. We are the entire world is using Venetian words. The words of the Venetian derivation. Many places in the world are voting using some remains of the electoral Venetian system. The world history is a matter of exchanges, of a continuous exchange, because in every nation, some nation more than others, could took the best of everything, but it's very often and everything that is coming from an elsewhere. And Venice had this capability to transform it, to took all this form and then to export them, of course, and made them to become Venetian. For example, I don't know, the art, the architecture, it's a kind of mix. If you see a Venetian palace, you cannot, it seems Arabic, but it is not. It's Occidental, but it is not. And at last it's Venetian. It's something that's born here and it could be exist in that form only in Venice.
Another thing I really like about the way you write and when you do your talks is that you kind of revalue the role of women in Venetian history. But I was talking to somebody the other day, to actually many other people the other day, how the role of women and, the figures of different Venetian women are kind of being like swept under the carpet or kind of, yeah, okay. And people don't realize how many Venetian women did a lot of good things in Venice.
Yeah. Venice was really a civility that gave to women not exactly power. This would be too much also for the history of Venice, but a lot of freedom in action, in togetherness, in the 14th century, we have had, she's pretty famous, but there were others, of course. She's Marietta Barovière. She was a beads creator, and her beads conquered the world later. But she had her own furnace for make beads.
Yeah, that he was unheard of.
Well, she was absolutely, come si dice, un imprenditore,
An entrepreneur. She was an entrepreneur, a businesswoman.
Poetess, feminists, also in the 16th, 17th century.
And what I think is particular about Oviedo that it's not just the time in Europe, the time in Venice, but in Murano, that nowadays is still a very misogynist and very male oriented place. So she was like so many years behind, but you haven't learned anything from Murano after her, have you?
Absolutely right. Absolutely. Yeah. But for example, in Venice, a woman could have their properties, for example, could, come si dice, manage them without the necessity, to have a man close to her. When a wife had to not write down, but to speech to a notaio.
Oh, a notary. A notary, yeah.
Her last will, the husband had to be out of the room.
Oh, okay.
Not to listen or to try, to.
So it didn't go, if she died, it didn't go, if she had a will, it didn't go automatically to the husband, if she had a will. Oh, okay.
No, it was, the role of a woman was important.
And there were also a lot of women that were patrons of arts, music.
But the courtesans themselves, were extraordinary girls, despite the fact that they sell their body, but they were in condition to. There are poems of, Veronica Franco is one of the most known, but they are incredible, and they had the right to stay inside every book of 16th century poetry, but not because because of a necessity to put a woman.
No, because they would never even thought of a.
Or be politically correct, but because they are really great poems, and so on and on. Painters, writers. We have had lot of very interesting feminine figures.
So why do you think of we are rediscovering them now, and for so many years it kind of not got talk about it?
I don't know if really now. It's
now, in the last 20 years,
both, because probably now we are, our society, is more, had a greater sensibility to this kind of matters, and so probably we are more disposal to listen to this kind of stories. The first graduate in the world is a Venetian, as you know, and this is not for fate, of course. It was pretty hard for her at the time, but it was 1678, and she graduated, when all over the world. Picking up a book was in the same moment, forbidden or worse for a woman.
Okay, Alberto, with this quarantine, the question that everybody's asking us, because I get emails every day asking me, is Venice gonna change? Do you think we'll have the actually, not the will, because I think the will is there, the capacity to do it?
Yes, of course. We all.
You're so positive.
we had for our whole history, for the story of the town, you know, we were beat by plague 70 times, 70, and every time, you know,
but don't you think that the people were different?
we have to change, of course.
Okay.
We have to change. I think but it's impossible. There are, fortunately, not the condition to get back to what Venice was 1 year ago. Not so soon. But in this meanwhile, we have the possibility to think and to act for the creation of a different Venice, not a new one. Venice is not.
No. Well, a new, as in reborn, born again.
A different one, of course.
I remember that at Carnival time, I've asked you the question, I think it was just, during Carnival, something like that. I've asked you the question about, over tourism, of course, because we were in the middle of a carnival and loads of crowds and stuff. And we were talking about housing.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't this the time that maybe the right time, since all the apartments are now empty, that the city should do something about it and take it into the hands?
Of course, you know, also for the proprietors, I mean, people who rent normally to tourists that has no more tourists to rent for 1 year, 2 years, you know, had the choice to rent to people who want to come in Venice to live, to work, to study, and I think that many of them could be pleasurable surprise of the fact that they can probably gain a little less money, but acquire a very better town around.
Yeah, I totally think so. But I think it should start. I think as one thing that the Venetians need to do, and I think I don't know if it's so easy to do because it's in the DNA of us Italian, is to work together, putting aside politics and money.
It will be hard.
Yes. I think there are people out there ready to do it. I'm very worried that there are some people that haven't understood yet that you cannot go back to what it was like 6 months ago. We did reach a point where it was.
We have a time ahead of us to think of it. We have the manner to act for it, to find the proper way to follow our project and our dreams for a different town. For a different town, we can really make Venice a better place for sure. I think we can also get it really.
Yeah, I've actually got an idea. It came to me yesterday. I already ran it to some people to see if it's feasible, and they said to me, "Wow, so tune in." I've got something, me. When it comes to communication, it's something I think right now we need to communicate something, a different kind of communication. I think right now we're doing it wrong because we're just showing empty, sad Venice, and I don't think that's what people want to see. They want to see the people of Venice. So I'm working on something at the moment. But since you are
not worried, but it could be.
No, don't worry. It's actually whoever I told, and I've asked some very important people. They said to me, "That is a great idea." So it's okay. I don't move.
Wait 1 second, but okay.
It's gone. It's gone.
Close
Oh my God. Okay, listen. Since you're a storyteller, can you tell us a story?
No, ripeti, non ho capito niente.
Since you are a storyteller, the Venetian storyteller, Can you tell us a story then?
Va bene, allora
A funny one. We need to laugh. I wanted this to be a funny conversation, but I got so serious talking. So come on, let's get laughing a bit.
oh, laughing. It's pretty hard to laugh with Venetian legends, you know.
Okay,
Are,
vabbè, go
yeah, they are
one.
interesting. Yeah. Anyway, I dedicate it to Sonia Papuzza. That is the fifth time that I listened to this story. But she told me that it is, come si dice, therapeutical, and so.
Okay.
I'm going to speak to you to the legend of the old St. Mark's bell ringer.
Ah, okay, yes.
And so,
That
of course,
I stole from your book. I've included in my ghost tour, so it's okay.
legend has a place, has more places. The first our places is Corte Bressana. Corte Bressana is a pretty beauty courtyard close to Campo San Giovanni e Paolo, with a stair, you know, very visible. I mean, it's an external stairs. And the legend says that in that place lived one of the last St. Mark's Tower bell ringer. She was, we are speaking of a time in which bells have to be rung by using ropes. And
Yes.
so,
and often as well, because they were in Venice,
yeah.
they gave a time of life.
And this need also very strong man. And this man was pretty tall, you know. He was more than 2 meters tall. I don't know in feet.
Six.
More than six. More than 6 feet tall. And for this, of course, he was noticed by an old professor. He was a naturalist that has his own private collection of fossils, everything, you know. And when he saw this man, decided to go to him, asking something. And it was a dialogue like this, you know. It's a lot of time I'm looking at you. You're a very interesting man, so tall, you know, so handsome, so strong. And our bell ringer, yes, was, you know, yes,
Don't worry.
yeah, was grateful, but also a little suspect, you know.
Yeah.
And when the professor told him, "I have a proposal to do to you," you know,
Okay.
so the suspect became very strong. But at last, the professor told him, "You know what? I want to buy your skeleton." And the bell ringer said, "What? My skeleton?" You know.
Yeah.
You're a so tall man. You know. Try to imagine which kind of skeleton you have inside. You know. Well, of course, I'm going to pay you it now. You know, and take it after you are dead. You know. It will be, you know, you try to think, you know, a 2 meter tall skeleton, you know, it will be the masterpiece of my collection. But, you know, the bell ringer, you know, was not
still
so,
you was still alive.
an excuse and then another, very kindly, because the professor was old, and so I say, no, you know, thank you, but, you know, me and my skeleton are together since a while, you know, we are very close. But
I'm very attached to it.
a few days, you know, the insistence of a professor, but more than this, the economical offer, wow, was a lot. And our men start to talk to it, you know, and say, you know, oh, I'm old, it's true, but the professor is pretty older than me. You know what? I'm going to sell my poor bones, you know, and in a couple of years the professor will die and no one will remember this contract, and I will keep
The
my
money.
skeleton and also the money.
Yeah.
And strong of this by this conviction, you know, decided to sign the contract. At the very moment of signing, the professor, half serious, half kidding, told him, you know what, you are a bell ringer. I will put a small bell in the hand of your skeleton, and your skeleton will be the guardian of my collection. And well, it's done. The contract was signed, and now our man is really rich. Maybe, or well, not really rich, but he could never imagine in his whole life to be able to get such an amount of money. And by the way, he is also a lover of a good wine, and
like all Venetians.
Start to invest the capital, in a pub, and then in another, and then in another. In a few days, the money is there, is pretty not touched because it's a lot of money. But our man died at the table of a pub because he drank too much. And it's for this reason that his skeleton became part of a collection of an old professor. Today, the skeleton of St. Mark's bell tower's bell ringer is still preserved in town, our second place, because it is inside a big glass, of a Museum of Natural History inside the Fontego di Turkey. Mm-hmm. What are we going to tell about him in Venice? We Venetian knows that he get out from the museum, from the Fontego every night, just a little before midnight, and reach the St. Mark's Bell Tower, our third place, to give the rings of the Marangona, of midnight, of the Marangona, the larger and most ancient bell of the St. Mark's Bell Tower. Just after did it, he get back home. So he get back in Corte Bressana and doing it, walking through the Venetian Calle. He rings the small bell he keep in one hand and ask for money with the other. The St. Mark's bell ringer, is begging for money to be able to buy himself back.
Ah, bellissima. Nice one. And all of this story and many others, we can find them on the first book, Venetian. Come si può Venetian Legends? Because I got the Italian.
The book translated into English are the former are Venetian Legends and Ghost Stories.
Okay.
Venice Enigma. More recently, there are all these stories and more. The Secrets of the Grand Canal, and the Mysteries of Venice.
Okay. Did you do your sign at the contrary?
No, non ho capito.
Your social media sign, did you prepare it or not?
No.
So you send me encrypted messages on WhatsApp written backwards that I can read, and then you forget to do your social media. Don't worry. I write it down on underneath with the titles when I post it. So, but did you remember to have something handmade though, or did you forget that as well?
I forgot everything.
Oh my God, you're useless as a guest. You really are.
I know.
I'm not going to invite you anymore.
Okay. Shut down everything and let's start again. Everything.
No, listen, Alberto, thank you so much. I know you're really, really busy, and it was so nice having you. It was an honor, a real honor.
But it was for me an honor. It was so pleasurable, and I thank you really by my heart. You and all the people that stay with us until now. It's very brave people. And hope to see you soon.
Yeah, and you should be worried because I will get involved in this project. You knew that, didn't you?
I know. You told that thing, not for fate, not just.
No, don't worry. It's not gonna be anything major. I've already said.
Don't worry when you are involved in something. A good way, in an absolute good, a positive way. But we have no time to stay calm with you.
No, that's true. But listen, I got all this energy. I got to give it somewhere, and you know, I don't like being lazy. Anyway, listen, thank you so much again, and I hope to see you back in Venice soon for a drink finally. Ok, ok. Ciao, grazie. Grazie a
Ciao.
te. Ciao carissimo, ciao, complimenti per tutto e auguri per le prossime, per domani, è domani che inizi, giusto?
Domani.
Complimenti, ciao ciao, grazie.
Ciao.